All right, back here live on the Revved Sports Show Monday evening, cold outside, hot in the studio. Speaking of hot, on the RPM Radio Texas.
Sass Jordan, High Road Easy brings us from the break.
Oh, that's good.
Don't want to lose this video.
Right. Don't want to lose the video. Everybody wonders why we stumble sometimes because if we don't say who we're playing,
they
Facebook
will take this shit down every time. Every time.
Speaking of on the hot side, on the hot line, none other than the general manager, the El Grande Jefe of South Texas Speedway, none other than Stephen Whiteaker Jr. Stevie, how's it going, man? Is it as cold down there as it is up here?
I don't know if it's that cold, but it's definitely cold here, and a little bit of sprinkles coming down, but I could sure use some sunlight right about now.
I was Steve. I was actually on our dwarf car. We were having a little text group. One of our drivers, Jerry Young, was texting us all to remind us that if you don't drain the water, stuff will freeze. But and another guy popped on there and he said, "Hell, it don't freeze in South Texas."
I'll argue with him. We're supposed to get some freezing temperatures tonight. So if it would freeze all that water out there, we can just have some like ice skating races and stuff. Like we got to race something. It's been too long.
Oh my goodness, man! You guys, man, talk about getting stung, man. That sucks. It's just been one weekend after another, hasn't it? It seems like it always happens right around Thursday or Friday.
Oh, of course, man. And I don't want to think on all the negatives. We've had a really, really good year. Of course, we haven't raced in 70-something days, and everybody's bugging to getting the itch to go race. But it is what it is. We're just going to keep plugging along forward. We're going to get these last races in. They might be February, but we're going to get them in. Our guys want to race. I know they do, and I want to give them a track to race at.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to jump in with the hard questions first. Number one, I don't know if you caught the top of the show. Rodney and I always joke with the people that come on in your position. Longtime racers decide they want to run a racetrack. So the question is, what the hell were you thinking when you decided to take over that place?
Well,
it's really easy, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a piece of cake, man, let me tell you. I've always been involved in South Texas Speedway. I grew up there at the fence, barely can look over the fence watching my dad race. And, the last couple promoters that we had, I was, friends with them. And, I've always kind of, been there and seen how everything was done and always thought I could do it better. Ken Hobbs gave me my opportunity. He moved to Alaska and started a new adventure in his life, and I don't know if I'm doing a better job, but it's definitely there's definitely some obstacles that we've ran through, and I am enjoying it. There's a lot of people that are at the racetrack that you really never conversate with, and as a race car driver, and now I conversate with everybody in every class and listen to everybody's opinions. They're all different than yours, and what I thought I wanted to do, then you listen to 10 guys in a class, and it changes the way you think about things. But other than the not racing part, I'm really struggling right now. I've only raced 4 times this year, and it's starting to get at me right now.
Yeah, no doubt. It's Steve Whiteaker Jr., South Texas Speedway, joins us here on the Revved Up Sports Show on Monday night. And you hit the nail on the head there. And isn't it, even though you have an idea what you're getting into when you jump into operations or promotions or whatever it may be, man, when you really dive in, it's eye-opening, isn't it? I think folks just don't understand what all goes into a single race night, much less a season.
No, it's a lot of work. There's every promoter across the country at the racetrack will agree with me. It takes a lot of family time, and I have my entire family in the concession, and I took it over. I'm like, great, I got me a racetrack now, and then I go out there a week before the race, and how do you start this maintainer? I've never operated one before. There's definitely some stuff you had to work through, but man, I've had a lot of help this year, and I've had some great support, and it's made it a lot easier than I thought. It's still hard, but it could have been worse.
Mm-hmm.
So what's been the biggest challenge this year? You're other than the rain. We get that the rain itself is its own unique challenge, but what's been the biggest challenge for you this year as you transition from the racer into the promoter?
watching other people win. That's my biggest challenge down here. To me, this is my racetrack. I want to win every race, and I know it's not possible, but and that it goes for the two other. We got 3 great tracks down in South Texas, and when I'm not racing, I'm not on top of my game. I'm not researching, and to be honest, that's the most challenging part is leaving my car on Jackson's at home.
Yeah, that is kind of the crappy part. So let's take it way back. I mean, there's folks that are going to listen to this or watch it at whatever point that may not know the whole history of Whiteaker racing. Let's rewind it all the way back. How did all this start to where you are now?
Well, my dad started racing in I assume 80s, all through the 90s, some late models, and all around Texas, ventured out of Texas some, and ever since I can remember, I've always just wanted to race something. And when I was 12 years old, my grandpa bought me a pure stock, and I went to I-37 Speedway, and I think I won my 3rd race out, and it just that's all I wanted to do. So it's all my dad's fault. That's how we got into this. He's still, with me today, by my side through everything that I do. But I mean, it's just been in my family. I got cousins that race, and my wife's dad was a successful race car driver in McAllen, Texas. And, it's just that's what I wanted to do, and and then this is the first year that I haven't raced more than 20 times. It's definitely changed, but I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the change of the hat. But it's just been in my family. I got three boys now, and 2 of them race go-karts, and I'm kind of kicking myself. I'm like, I want to do something else. Like, they play sports too, and I just want, I'm trying to get them to do something else other than racing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Almost forgot what I was going to say. When you think about it, we were talking about the chase and all the excitement it's brought to the upper levels of NASCAR. Did you get a lot of pushback when you decided that you were going to do the chase format down there on the local short track level? I mean, how many guys? I mean, you guys are doing a great job promoting it, but I'm just curious as to how much backlash you got from old school racers that wanted, to race all year long and like the old days.
Well, I'll start out by saying anybody but Logano. As far as the NASCAR goes,
we hadn't got that far.
But as far as our racetrack, we didn't really get any backlash. It was something different, dirt tracks all over the place. Sometimes a lot of them turn into a perfect attendance award.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, you got John Doe's 200 points ahead, and it's not exciting, and nothing against the guy who's leading the points everywhere, but it's got to be exciting for my fans. The fans want something to cheer for, and when we're 3 races from the end and this guy already has the points wrapped up, it's not as enjoyable. There's not as much excitement.
Yep.
And the chase last year was the first year, and I won majority of the races in the sport mod class, and I had a whole race and a half lead, and it was reset in the chase, and I had some bad heat races, and next thing you know, Dustin Butcher won the championship, and I was second. That's exactly what it was meant to do. It's meant to shake things up, and you got to be on. You got 3 races, and you got to be on your game.
Yeah, and in that, we were, as Bobby said, we were just having that conversation. Isn't it a matter of where somebody, you may struggle a little bit, but if you get yourself into the game, you get yourself into that situation, then something happens. You hit a setup or just something works out. You get hot at the right time, and hell, you are instantly back in the hunt again.
Oh, correct. All you got to do is make it there. You make it there, everybody resets. We give a little incentive for wins and perfect attendance, but I think this year you win a race and perfect attendance and you're in. I think that was last year. This year, anybody that had perfect attendance, you're in the chase. So I'm rewarding all the guys that supported me all year by giving, letting them, they earn their way into this chase. And now, one mistake or they have one good race and they got a top 2 or a championship. It's something. It starts the year all over, and it makes it exciting and something to race for again.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of starting the year over, Roddy and I both watched the video, and we totally thought that it was really refreshing to have somebody just lay it on the line like that. In terms of it's great to see all the tracks working together. It's great. It's awesome. But what Roddy and I appreciated the most is that you were one of the first guys to step up and actually say, we love working together with the tracks, but I'm okay with trying to put my racetrack first. What goes into making a video like that? Is it just something that you finally got tired of listening to all the rumors and stuff, people talking bad about you on social media, and just said, this is what we're going to do?
Well, there's always rumors. There's always the people that think they know, or the people that are always negative. We're down here in the northern Mexico part of the world, and we have 3 really good racetracks down here. Ray Doyne with I-37 is doing a great job. Kenny Dinsman at Texana Raceway is doing a great job. But we can't all. There's only so many Saturdays in a month, and we can't run every 3 weeks to make everybody happy.
Right.
I enjoy working, and I've tried to work with I-37 multiple times, and I'm not saying it was unsuccessful, but at the end of the day, the return, it wasn't enough for me. And maybe the favor wasn't returned, or I'm not trying to be negative. There is no negative, and we worked together well the times we did. But when I sit back and look at my racers and my fans, I need to take care of these guys first.
Yeah.
I need to worry about what's going on in Corpus Christi, Texas, at South Texas Speedway, and put my guys before anybody else. I determine my rules, based on the people that support me, and that the support has been great this year. And I just want to get back to, taking care of South Texas Speedway, and I want to make South Texas Speedway as good as I think it can be. So it wasn't directed towards anything, negative of the other racetracks. I enjoy, I've been to racetracks several times. Kenny Dinsman's track, we kind of race on the same weekend. So, the opportunity for me to go race there isn't as great as it is I-37. But man, I've watched those tracks. I've had friends go there and race, and they have nothing negative to say.
Yeah.
But I just want to worry about me, and that's it.
Yeah, and the thing is, what a lot of folks don't realize, Stevie, is, I mean, this thing, whether you own the land or you're leasing or whatever the situation is, this is a business. I mean, when it all comes down to it, you have to operate it. When operated as a business, in theory, that's the most successful racetrack, and pleasing
Correct.
pleasing your customers. That's how you do that.
Correct. You're exactly right. And I need to make sure that when I make my drivers, I found out that drivers are very easily made happy. If you can get a halfway decent racetrack, and you can pay these guys the money and treat them like they should be treated, and respect them, and understand that they're spending money to come race at your racetrack, that's piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
They will in return put on a great show and come in large numbers and put on a show for your fans. And when those fans have a good time, that's where you make your money. That's where the racetrack survives off the fans. I made a commitment this year that, I was going to, all the money that the drivers brought in, I was going to try to get it back. And we've had, some 2001 Sport Mod race this year, and 1,500 pure stocks. And I've tried to give that money back to these guys. They more than deserve those payouts. I mean, this is 2018,
mm-hmm.
and this isn't 1995 anymore. We can't race for $300.
Yeah, no doubt.
And in return, our fans have come in vast numbers, and and I can tell people walk in and they're asking, where the bathrooms are, and is this a race? And no, sir, this is hot lap. So I know they've never been here before.
Yeah.
And that when I see 10 or 15 of those fans walking around lost every night, it makes me feel good, because I know they've never been here before,
mm-hmm.
and hopefully we can put on a good show to make them come back.
Yeah.
So the question, and we know you're going to give us a straight, honest answer. What comes first? Is it the money to the drivers that gets the fans out? Is it the fans that need to show up to create more money to give to the drivers? I mean, in your world, which one is it first?
Well, you just got to make sure that your drivers are treated properly, and that takes care of itself. If you treat your drivers negative, then they're not going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And when the drivers aren't happy and the low car counts come out, then your fan count, they're not going to be happy coming and watching 8 sport mods run in a circle. Mm-hmm. They want to watch 18 of them.
Yeah.
So there's not one that's more important of the other. But you have to get your drivers to come out. You have to get a good car count, and that puts on the great show for the fans. And if the fans are happy, like I said, they'll keep coming back.
Yeah. And Steve Whiteaker Jr. joins us here on the Revved Up Sports Show, hashtag Real Race Talk, especially right here in this conversation. One of the things, Steve, that over at Central Texas that we really stress to our drivers, and I think you guys totally have this in your drivers' minds, is it's different now. We're in the entertainment business, and what you're talking about, cars in the pits and everything, we need to entertain these people. We've got a short amount of time to entertain them to get them to come back, and that's so important. I think you guys totally have that covered there at STS.
Yeah, it's a different time these days. I mean, these aren't a bunch of hillbillies racing in a circle. I mean, these cars, there's a lot of science involved, and you got to get these cars to handle, and you got to have some smarts to make them handle. I mean, these aren't just, knock the windshield out and let's go race for a six-pack of beer. I mean, we got some guys that dump some serious money in these machines, and they want to be competitive. They go home and they eat with their family, and they go out in the garage and they figure out how to get faster for next week. And it's like that across America. I mean, everybody wants to be faster. Mm-hmm. And to me, these guys that work really hard, and you can tell them, they roll through the gate, and you got guys with cars that are washed or waxed. You can tell their tires already mounted up. I mean, they're ready to race. And then you have, some of the others that come in with mud falling off the trailer. And, you got to put the work in.
Absolutely.
And when these guys put the work in, I want to make sure that, they get the results that they're looking for. I at least give them the racetrack to try to prove themselves on. But it's a different time. I've said it a million times this year. Everybody's paying $350, $400 for sport mods. Well, down here, sport mods are our premier class. They're our highest class. You got to have incentives to move up. Mm-hmm. And if we came out with an increased payout of $600, and I don't know another track in Texas that pays $600 to win weekly for a sport mod. And not only that, it's $400 per second. I mean, it's a good payout, and
that's a very good payout.
Those guys put a great show on. We've had a good car count this year. Not taking anything from other classes. Our pure stocks, man, 17 to 24 cars every night. Great show. I mean, it's been fun to watch this year. The people turn out and race.
It's awesome.
So the question I have is that, working with Cody back in the asphalt days and doing some of the stuff with the super late model stuff, you mentioned the hillbillies racing around in a circle. Has it been hard to get Corpus itself to buy into, look, like you said, these are high tech machines, there's a lot of money, this isn't just rednecks racing wagons? I mean, how hard has that been to break out of the perceived mold of just rednecks racing in a circle down there?
I think it's really turned the last, I want to say 2 years. I think it's made a big turn this year. Maybe because I paid attention to it more because I'm on a different side of the ball nowadays. But when fans come out or they walk up to a race car, I don't think they see what they're expecting to see. I mean, they see, how clean it is, or they want to open how much horsepower does it have. The fans that have never seen a race car before, and they relate everything to NASCAR. The fans that aren't around racing that much, they relate everything to NASCAR. They want to know, you roll up in your sport model, what kind of car is it? I mean, it's 84 Monte Carlo. You don't know how to explain it. Mm-hmm. We've had some race cars at some schools this year doing like career days and stuff like that, and we're talking to the kids, and you can see the teachers and the parents in the background kind of like involved in what they want to learn more. Next thing you know, you're walking the racetrack, and one of them teachers she's there with her kids, like she sees you and they want to come watch, and it goes along with anything else. The times evolve. There's nothing we can do to slow that down. Every day information is greater and greater, and it's easier and easier to get it. Yeah. Back in the day you had some, it was hard to get information. You had to be close to somebody or learn it yourself. Now you can make a couple phone calls and have Scott Bloom put the setup on your sport mod. It's different times nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or wait for Circle Track magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
Correct.
You mentioned something there. We get killed on it a lot with that. You mentioned NASCAR. And I wholeheartedly believe, feel free to tell me if you feel different, Stevie. I really think that NASCAR thriving or doing better, hopefully, is beneficial to we as short track racers, because for the casual new fan, that, as you said, they have nothing else to relate to other than what they may see on their tablet or TV on Sunday.
Yeah, I see a lot of social media stuff and, bashing NASCAR. I'm a big NASCAR watcher. I watch every week. I'm very involved in it. I keep track of all of it. I'm pretty sure Phoenix just came off a sellout crowd, and again, tell me how bad NASCAR is. They just sold out a race. I mean,
right.
It's, to me, it takes a lot to sell out an event that big. So, either things are getting better or NASCAR is not as bad as social media makes it out to be.
We're desperate, I guess.
That's good. No, that's good though. I mean, because like we talked about it before. Like Texas looked like it was small, and the crowd at TMS. Yeah, it was a little off, but when you have grandstands that hold 180,000 people and you've only got 65,000 people in it, yeah, it's going to look really empty. And I think the same thing, like you're saying. It all has to work together, the perceived notion. Speaking of social media and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there's, if I have to choose a race a year, I'm going to go to Martinsville versus, Talladega. I'm going to choose the short track. So what I was getting at is like when we go to the short tracks and the short tracks have very low fan count, then we're going to be in trouble because people that want to go to race, they're going to want to go to the Martinsvilles, the Bristols, the Phoenix, They want to go to Talladega and Daytona and see some big wrecks, or Daytona and watch some dirt racing the week before. But I feel like when the Phoenix type short track style racing doesn't have good fan count numbers, then they might be in trouble.
Then we're in trouble.
Yeah. So you work with Race on Texas a lot. From the promoter side, we hear varying reports of it. You don't want to have the races. You don't want to have Race on Texas come in to cover the races because it may keep somebody from buying a ticket. Stuff like that. What's your take on that? Does having the videos out there and Facebook Live stuff and the online racing stuff, does that really affect the bottom line of a racetrack?
I'm sure it does. Does it enough to notice? Probably not. South Texas has a lot of negativity towards race on. There's a lot of uneducated people out there that pretty much have nothing else better to do than to talk negative about Race on Texas. Well, I, for one, Race on Texas has done a lot for South Texas Speedway. They promoted us really well. Everything we ask, they drop everything and get it done. I mean, it's when they're involved in your program, things run a lot smooth. I mean, you get more FaceTime out there. I mean, people see what's going on, all these highlight videos and on-demand stuff. Like I'll give you an example. South Texas Speedway and I-37 both have supporters of Race on Texas. Texana isn't, and they probably wish they were. They're trying to figure out how to be. When Texana and Edna races, we don't see anything. There's nothing. There's no on demand. They're just. I have to scroll and look for results or wait to hear somebody or watch somebody's live video. But Race on Texas supports racetracks, and I'm proud to support Race on Texas. They proudly support racetracks. They stand by in everything that you do. And, if I'm putting on an event and I need some help advertising something, and consider it done. I mean, they like racing and they support it. As far as taking numbers away, I'm sure when you have a live feed and it's advertised that it's going to be live, you might lose, if you got 600 people in the stands, 50 might not show up, but you're still getting a return from Race on Texas. It's just that person on the couch isn't come buying a hot dog.
Right.
But,
right.
I mean, everything's a business, and they make sure that it's worth your while for them to come put a live feed on and everybody wins. But, I don't think it's taken anything out of South Texas Speedway's pocket. That's noticeable.
Yeah, we actually used it. They were really involved with us there at CTS, right, in those last couple 3 years, and we actually used it as the nice thing is, using the PA feed, you can actually you're cross selling as you're working the PA, and I'd work the PA, and we'd have a live Race on Texas event. The next event we would actually get 10 to 15 or whatever people that had been sold from watching the video. And it's all how you utilize that and run it as a business. But those folks are great. But
of course.
Yeah, got to ask you this. A lot of folks don't understand. You guys are in Corpus Christi and racing throughout the state of Texas. Yeah, asphalt tracks are gone, whatever. There's plenty of dirt ones still operating and operating well as you guys are. But Corpus Christi, I mean, just racing history right there. Corpus Christi, I mean, operating dirt tracks and asphalt tracks at the same time. So you just have such diehard folks down there to work with, don't you? Whether it be drivers, fans, whatever.
Yeah, well, CC Speedway has been around, I think, at least since early 50s. And they haven't raced in the last, the facility's closed down in the last, 5 years or 4 years, however long it's been. But I remember going out there as a kid and watching races, and man, those same people, 40% of them are still racing dirt right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
When people want to race, they're going to race. It's just like when CTS shut down, a lot of them went to 37. If you're a racer, you're going to find something to race. You're going to relearn. So what, you've been racing asphalt for the last 20 years. Let's go get a dirt car and try to learn something new. And that's never a bad thing. Beto finally talked me into racing a Tom's race at CTS a couple years ago, and I had a blast. Like, it was the funnest race I've ran in a long time. But racers will find a place to race. South Texas, Corpus Christi is very supportive of the dirt track. There's over 360,000 people in Corpus Christi, and I'm determined to get South Texas Speedway out there for all of them to know about it. And that's kind of what we've been working on. We really, with the help of Scott and Race on Texas, we've really changed our marketing stuff and gotten with some radio stations, and man, it's really helped this year. I can't say that we've increased our fans in a huge amount, but it has increased. The main thing you notice is the new people coming out.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. That's you got to capture the new people, and that's a lot of times we tell people, it's like, we got to go get the new people, and it's okay for new people to get into this sport. I mean, that's how we survive. Is you got to get those new people in there.
Correct. If you're going to have your same 400 people every week through the gate, but if you just keep advertising on your same Facebook post and keep doing the same thing over and over, only those 400 people see it.
Amen, brother.
So what's some of the big plans and stuff you got going for next year? We know you moved your big end of the season race to kick off the next season. You talked about having a couple of big series potentially come in and wanting to do some big capital improvement projects. What's all happening down there? And obviously, you're getting ready for this weekend. You're going to run a 2-day show, 15th and 16th. Getting that. We know that's on the horizon, and we'll get to that before you go. But what's the big picture like down there for 2019?
So 2019, we're going to shorten our schedule some, our regular season schedule. I feel that it'll keep it more compact. It'll keep everybody on their toes versus just dragging it out all year long, because there's some guys out there that a lot of our races, they have lives, they have jobs, families,
yeah.
kids in sports. I mean,
how that shit happens,
we can't start racing in February and end in November.
Yeah.
So we're going to have our big race in March, our Jerry Whiteaker Memorial, first weekend of March. So we're going to take a month and a half off, and we're going to start the middle of April. We're still going to race 16 to 18 times. So there will be some, when I started racing, I raced every single week. And I'd go race Pleasant after the center time was Friday, and I'd go to McAllen on Saturday, and go to, if I was feeling up for it, I'd go to Bell Mead on Sunday. I mean, we did a lot of racing when I was younger.
Yeah.
And, when you keep the guys going and you keep the rhythm flowing in the racetrack, everything just happens smooth. It's been a very smooth year when everything was going.
Yeah.
So our schedule is going to be a big change. We're going to shorten it up. We're going to compact it, same amount of racing. Our facility, we're going to clean it up some. The last 10 years, nothing's been done. And things are falling down. And that was my biggest pet peeve on having my big race here is I've seen hundreds of tracks across, from here to, Iowa and Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. And you see some that look like crap, and you see some that are very nice facilities. And I'm not saying we're going to have a prestigious, Charlotte Motor Speedway here, but there's some things that I feel like need to be done as far as cleanup, painting, fixing, improving. And, these 80 days of rain, rainouts, we haven't really been able to do anything.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, I've been to Waco a bunch of times throughout my life, and it's every couple years I go there. And every time I'm there, the place looks better and better and better.
Yeah.
And people, racers notice that.
Yep.
And they notice the improvements. And, I want people to feel that way when they pull into my racetrack. Man, last time we were here, this wasn't here. they got a new press box or, something like that. So,
Yeah.
Schedule improvements. And then, I made a phone call to Comp Cams. A couple of phone calls. I finally got to speak with the right person, and we talked about some things, and they told me what I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping to bring them down here. Now I know it's a long ways, and you have to make it worth their while for them to come.
Yeah.
So this is going to be one of those events that we're probably the track's not going to probably make any money, but we're going to break even, and it's going to be worth it to have everybody come watch the Jack Sullivans, the Billy Moyer Juniors, the good B.J. Robinson, Hunter Radisson, the good Comp Cam point followers. I think they can put on a good race at South Texas Speedway, and I do think Texana is going to work with us on putting on a third race. So I think that's nothing's set in stone yet. I'm still waiting on a response from them, but it's something that I'm excited, at least trying to do.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having a racer operate the racetrack, because you will go chase that. You know how to do that, and that's I tell you, guys that have been involved, that have raced or whatever it is, when they jump into your position, I think it's just a total win for the fan, for the driver, for everybody. So for the weekend coming up, man, you've been trying to get this one in. Everything I see, I think you're going to be good. I think you're going to be good. Number one, how's the track now? And talk to folks about the weekend.
So I will start by, we were supposed to race last weekend, and I had one of my good friends call and Thursday, and we were expecting rain, and it did rain. It rained all week in a nice nasty drizzle all weekend long. And I was prepared for rain. I had the track, a couple inches knocked up, graded out. I would have been in worse shape if it didn't rain because I was prepared for the rain.
Yeah.
So I just left the track about an hour ago. My racetrack is good to go. There's some standing water in the pits. We're supposed to get some sunlight. I know it's going to be cold, but we have a lot of wind, and the sun's going to come out. So hopefully the pits dry out fairly well. And we're going to put on 2 great shows of racing for my fans. I'm sure all my local drivers are wanting to race. We have 3 races to go in our chase, and we have to get these races in to determine our champions, to take home, the championship money, the trophy, Velocity of Fire suit. I mean, it's going to be a great 3 races. It's just a matter of getting them in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's you know how that goes. I think it's been, and the weather has been so stupid around here. Right?
Everybody complained about it being way, way too hot in the summertime, and now all of a sudden.
But man, I got to tell you,
I'll take that heat right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. But you did mention the wind, and that will help. That will help. But man, I think I got to tell you, just from the comments that we're seeing here, you can go back and look at those, man. But you're doing it the right way over there, and people
are taking notice.
Yes, and appreciating it, and that's huge, man. Congratulations on getting to this point. And it sounds like STS is going to be the place to be here for the next few years.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I definitely didn't do it alone. There's a lot of people behind me that help, and all the way from all my track employees to Race on Texas to even great announcers like Nick Robbins, and I got good friends that support me in everything that I do. So I'm definitely not doing it alone.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That goes without saying. A team got to be a team. I mean, you live and die. I mean, was good? It's a team. Bad, it's a team, and you really seem to
Correct.
be on that path. And just congratulations, man. It's so cool to see racing doing really good in Corpus Christi.
I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate the time. Let us know how we can help you, man. That's what this show is all about.
I appreciate the time. Appreciate y'all having me on. It was fun getting to talk about racing for a little bit, and we'll look forward to the next time.
Absolutely, man. We will do it again soon.
Yeah, just tell Cody to behave himself. Tell Cody Beto to behave himself, not to spin out when he's in the lead again. Okay.
That's not my responsibility.
All right, Stevie. Have a good night, man. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. Have a good